Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, bringing you another Beat Matt Batrep.
We work so you can play. MiniWarGaming's Beat Matt Batrep.
Today, Dave has driven all the way from Ottawa.
Yep.
What part of Ottawa?
Orleans. It's a east suburb of Ottawa.
Orleans?
Yeah.
Orleans, like New Orleans?
Not as much partying.
Not as much partying. What is Ottawa? So.
Yeah, government town.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, we are going to be playing a 2,000-point game of Chaos Demons versus Necrons. And we're going to be doing a custom scenario, which I'll talk about in just a second, but it involves lots of flyers and ridiculously overpowered flying monstrous creatures. So let's take a look at the armies as well as a scenario.
We're going to start by taking a look at Dave's Demon Army. This is 2,000 points, and we both tried to go as flyer heavy as we possibly could, so we have 5 or 4 flying monstrous creatures here. We've got Fate Weaver in the middle, and 2 of his are going to be worth 2 victory points. So the Fate Weaver is going to be worth 2 victory points if I kill him. This is a Keeper's Secret, so he's not a flying monstrous creature, so he's not worth any victory points. This is a Demon Prince of Slaanesh. He made them all level 3 Psychers. Demon Prince of Slaanesh as well. That first Demon Prince right there is worth 2 points. And a Demon Prince of Tzeentch. And Fate Weaver has 2 level 4 Psyker heads. Got 14 Plague Bearers, and a group of Flamers, and a group of Horrors. So he's got tons of psychic powers on his side, because level 3 Psychers and level 4 Psychers is just ridiculous. And on my side, there's no psychic whatsoever, because they're Necrons. And so here is the Necron flyer list of doom. Leading the charge will be an Overlord with a Phase Shifter, War Scythe, and Resurrection Orb and Mind Shackle Scarabs. And he's got a Lord with Mind Shackle Scarabs and a War Scythe as well. No Resurrection Orb on him. They are accompanied by a group of 10 Lich Guard. And the Lord will be joining them, and the Overlord will then join them as a group. And they're going to be mounted in a Night Scythe. And we got a full group here of Wraiths with their Whip Coils, because they're just very good. And then we've got 3 groups of 7 Necron Warriors inside of Night Scythes, because we want to do heavy flyers. And then 2 Doom Scythes. So basically just Night Scythes, but with the Doom Ray. And that is my 2,000 points. So we have a custom scenario. This is the board that we're using, pretty straightforward. And the custom scenario is this, that every flyer and flying monstrous creature is worth a victory point to kill, except for 2 of his monstrous creatures, which are worth 2 each, which I already said. And that is to balance it so we both have 6 victory points on our sides. There's also the secondary objectives, so the First Blood, Slay the Warlord, and Linebreaker are part of this as well. We rolled off, and I won the roll-off, and I decided for him to go first because I wanted to have second turn, because when you're doing flyer battles, second turn is usually more advantageous, as it allows his flyers to arrive, and then your flyers can arrive and shoot them down before they can shoot yours down. So it gives you more targets when you come in. Sometimes it makes a difference, and sometimes it doesn't. So deployment was very fast, as he's only bringing the Keeper's Secrets and the Plague Bearers. Everything else is going to fly in or deep strike in. And I've got my Wraiths. Everything else has to be in reserve. We've also negated the rule. Oh, he's rolling for this tree, and it turns out to be a nest, a Razorwing nest, so he doesn't want to run in there, or move in there, that's for sure. Keeper's Secrets is going to move up. But going back, and this is the Waves of Chaos, or the Winds of Chaos. 4, he re-rolls to a 5, and so that could do some damage to the Plague Bears on the 6, and it doesn't. But anyways, getting back to it, we decided to get rid of the rule that if you don't have anything on the table at the end of the turn, then you automatically lose, because we're both going for such heavy flyers and stuff. So that rule does not apply. So in his turn, he moves up. In my turn, I'm moving my Wraiths up because they can engage the Keeper's Secrets. As they have Whip Coils, they can bring his initiative 10 down to an initiative 1 without any problem. They're then going to attempt a charge, but needed a 9. It was difficult terrain, but they ignored the difficult terrain, so they get to roll just 2 dice. But they failed it. And now he's rolling for his reserves, and his Horrors come in, and Fate Weaver comes in, but the Flamers do not. Oh, that die is off. And that Demon Prince does not come in, because he needs a 3+. That Demon Prince does not come in. And what about the other Demon Prince of Slaanesh? It does not come in, so he rolls really poorly, which is actually good for him in a way, because it means that when my flyers come on, I don't have all the targets to shoot at. So it kind of works in his advantage. It all depends. It can go both ways when it comes to flyer battles, but typically you want your guys to come on after your opponents. That way you get to pick targets. Because you can't shoot at stuff in reserve. That would be a very interesting ability. So he flies on with Fate Weaver, and then he is casting hallucination on my wraiths, and he succeeds, and he rolls the power that they cannot attack in close combat for a full round. So he's going to charge in, or sorry, he's going to move up. That was his attempt at terrifying them as well, but he failed that. And he gets to re-roll the Winds of Chaos because Fate Weaver's there, and he had to roll the double 1, which would have been bad for him, so then he rolled a 7, which does nothing. Then he was doing a psychic shooting attack with his with the Horrors, and trying to do some damage to the Wraiths. They have a 3+ invulnerable save though, and they save all 5 of the wounds that he inflicts. Keeper Secrets then charges in without any problem. He does get an impact hit from that, and these guys do not get to strike blows. And so he wounds them with the impact hit, and I fail to save that, but it does not insta-kill them because it's only strength 6, thankfully, and their toughness 4. And then he's going to do his 7 attacks, which hit on 3s and wound on 2s, but I get my 3+ invulnerable, thankfully saving most of those and only losing 1 of the Wraiths. And they're fearless, so I don't have to worry about seeing if they run away or not. Now for my reserves, my first group of warriors fail to come in, the second group of warriors fail to come in, the third group do come in, my Overlord and his group don't come in, and then we have a Doom Scythe who does come in. We need a 3+ there. And the other Doom Scythe does come in. So we have 2 Doom Scythes plus 1 Night Scythe with the warriors flying in. And they land. They want to take on Fate Weaver before he can do much, because each head, like I said, is a level 4 Psyker. Now he has to choose at the beginning of each turn which head's going to act that turn, so he doesn't get to do 8 spells, but that would just be ridiculous. So I open fire with the Tesla weapons, and managed to inflict a lot of hits, because remember, every 6 is 3 hits. And I actually knock out 3 of his wounds, so he's down to 2 wounds. He rolls to see if he's grounded. He is not, so he is still swooping, which sucks because my Doom Ray or Death Rays can't hit him, which would insta-kill him. Or maybe, are they toughness 6? Doesn't matter. They would do some damage to him. And he fails those 2 saves, and Fate Weaver gets to reroll, and he fails that too. So that is 4 points for me right off the bat. 2 because we declared that he's 2 victory points, plus First Blood, plus the Warlord kill, because the Fate Weaver was the Warlord. So off the bat, I am now leading 4-0. So he's going to have to work pretty hard to get that back. And then I'm doing some as much damage as I can to the Plague Bears, but because they're in cover, and because they're Nurgle, they're shrouded, so his 5+ cover becomes a 3+ cover. So that's just not good. Keeper Secrets is going to smash attack the Rays. Mathematically, it works out exactly the same if he smash attacks or does not, so he prefers to do it. I do manage to save it though, so he does not insta-kill any of them. So end of round 2, the score is 4-0, as he hasn't killed any of my Flyers or my Warlord yet. But of course, it'll be his turn now to see if he can do some damage. And my guys, my Flyers are not too hard to kill. They do have 3 hull points, and they are armor 11 all around, but demons have plenty of ways to handle that. So, rolling for reserves, the Flamers are coming in, the Demon Prince of Tzeentch is coming in, the Demon Prince of Slaanesh is coming in, and the other Demon Prince of Slaanesh is also coming in. So this will be his chance to take down my Flyers as much as he can so they can't do any damage back, because Demon Princes are only toughness 5, so if they get grounded and then hit with the Death Ray from the Doom Scythes, then they'll be insta-killed, because they no longer have Eternal Warrior like they used to, which I'm glad for, kind of. I think some of them, like the Keeper Secrets or Fate Weaver, they should have Eternal Warrior at least, but well, whatever. And he is hallucinating my guys, of course, to make sure they don't attack again, and I failed the thing that negates it. Deny the Witch, there we go. And then we're rolling for Winds of Chaos, and he rolls a really good one, which ends up doing nothing, so we didn't bother doing that. Now he's doing Puppet Master. So he takes control of my Flyer, he manages to hit it because he has Skyfire, and fires at my other Flyer with it. I hit my other Flyer 4 times, and I inflict 3 penetrating hits. And I forgot that I could Jink, and I didn't Jink, so he just died. So he could have survived that if I had remembered that he could Jink. The second one then fired his Lash of Submission, which does 2d6 attacks. He rolled double 6s there, so yes, he gets 12 attacks at his own strength. And he manages 3 glancing, or 3 penetrating, 2 glancing, so that one dies. So now the score is 4-2. So just like that, boom, he kills 2 of my Flyers. Then he attacks my other Doom Scythe, and he hits it 7 times with the Lash of Submission, and inflicts 2 penetrating hits. I do Jink, and I fail both of them, and he manages to stun the crew twice, and I normally get to ignore that because of the living metal, but I fail to. So I'm down to 1 hull point, and I'm crew stunned, but I was Jinking anyways, so I would be hitting on snapshots anyways. then he smashes my guys, manages 1 wound, and I failed to save that, so that's instant death on one of the wraiths. And he actually had managed to cast Terrify on them, so they're no longer fearless, but they do make their leadership test, so they do not run away. So Necron's turn 3. Can my guys come in? No, that one doesn't come in. No, that one doesn't come in. What about the important one? Yes, the Lord and his posse do arrive. They decide to not go right beside all the demon princes because that would just be suicide with all the psychic powers that they have. I need to take care of some of them before I really start to engage them with the Lord. Like the Lich Guard group it's a strong group, but if you combine a bunch of different psychic powers on them, they won't survive it. They're not that survivable. Toughness 5, 3+ armor, 4+ invulnerable. It's good, especially with reanimation protocol, but it's not invincible. So I had to be careful of that. The other warriors just walk on because they were inside the Night Scythe when it died, and the rules for that is that they don't take damage. It's basically, don't think of them as being inside the Night Scythe. Think of the Night Scythe as teleporting them on. And so they have to just walk on the board right next to the Flamers, who really like eating up warriors because of their AP4 Flamers. But I thought I got to give him some sort of distraction so he doesn't put all those Flamers into my Lich Guard. And they actually managed to kill a couple of them as well with their rapid fire shots. And the Doom Scythe flew off the board because he was stunned anyways. And so if I stayed there, it would just be another kill point for him really, really easily. Firing at the Flyer into the Flamers as well. And they fail their save, so they lose another couple guys. There's a couple wounds on each of these, though, so they do lots of damage. And that's it. And so we got the smash attack from the Keeper of Secrets because he's hallucinated my guys so they don't get to attack. And unfortunately for him, I make all my invulnerable saves, and so I'm still alive. So my Rays are proving to be a good tar pit, but not really good at hurting him. So end of round 3, the score is now 4-2, so he's starting to catch back up, and he's got all of his guys on the board. So you can see it's a very low model count game because all of our points are invested in our flyers and monstrous creatures. So Demons, turn 4, he flies up with his Demon Prince of Tzeentch and his Demon Prince of Slaanesh, hoping to take on my Flyer and my Lich Guard unit. And yeah, so they get up there. And he does cast Invisibility on the one Demon Prince of Tzeentch. Invisibility making it so that if you fire at him, he has Stealth and Shrouded. And if you attack him in close combat, your weapon skill is 1. Now that part doesn't really matter because my weapon skill is already going to be hitting on 5+, because his weapon skill is more than double mine. But the whole shooting at him and him getting basically a 2+ cover save if he decides to jink or dive is pretty darn good. So Winds of Chaos, we roll a 9, and once again, nothing really happens except knocking over the Flyer and breaking it a little bit, but that's okay. And then we got the Demon Prince of Slaanesh firing his lash. He gets a double 6 again, so he gets 12 shots at strength. I think it's 6. And I jink, and I fail those 2, and I fail these 3. So that's another Flyer down. And it crashes, but does not hit anybody. Just misses my guys narrowly. So the score is 4-3 now. Now he's firing into the Lich Guard group because he wants to hurt them, obviously. He only manages 4 hits, though. Does 3 wounds. I got a 3+ armor, and I fail 2 of them, so that kind of sucks. 2 of them go down, but I do have a reanimation protocol, so we'll see if they stand back up. And then the Flamers, of course, are just going to eat up these warriors. These are only strength 4, but he's getting like 15 hits, and they're all AP4, so they ignore my armor, and there's no way for me to go to ground. And then he decides to... Oh, wait, he failed hallucination that turn, and so my my Rays actually get to fight first, because they are initiative 2. And they do, in the end... Whoa, like my feet there? Did you like my feet? Knock off 1 of his 6 wounds, but that was it. Then he's hitting back, and he's smash attacking again, and he hits 3 times, and he wounds on 2s. 3+ invulnerable or insta-death, and he kills 2 of them. So he actually wins combat there, but I think they're fearless again? Yeah, he did not manage to get off his fearless. He rolls for his It Will Not Die, and it does not happen. I forgot to roll for the reanimation protocols on these. Didn't matter because these 2 both failed it. So that's 90 points a guy. It's just gone. Should at least got 1 of them back, statistically. Necron's turn 4. The Doom Scythe re-enters from reserve, and everybody else gets to come on automatically because it's turn 4, and you don't have to roll for reserves anymore. So these guys are flying on. They're getting ready to support my Lich Guard group. They're dropping out warriors. I know it's by the Flamers again, but what I'm hoping to do is ground some of his guys. So I just need some shots at his Demon Princes. I really don't care about the warriors that much. I don't care about his troops because they're not the objective, and they're not actually that powerful against my Lich Guard group, which is the important one because it contains my Warlord. Then the Lich Guard move up, planning to dual assault into these guys if I can. I fire at him, knowing he has invisibility on him, and having that, he decides to dive, and he does a 2+, and he gets to reroll 1s. And so it's basically a 2+3 rolled, and he doesn't take any of those wounds. But we roll to see if he's grounded, and that's why I shot at him, because I wanted to ground him. The Necron warriors also fire at him, knowing they're not going to really damage him. But the grounded roll, finally, he falls to the ground, takes a strength 9 hit, and which doesn't hurt him, but he is grounded. And that's the important part. So now I'm going to focus on the other Demon Prince, who's not invincible. And I hit him a ton of times, because that's 3 6s, and those are 9, 10 hits. And right there in the first shot, just from one of them, I knock out 3 out of 4 of his wounds. And he's not grounded, though, so he doesn't take that last wound from falling. So the other one fires, and if he can do just half as well as that, and he does pretty darn good. He does 6 hits, 6 wounds, and then he has a 3+ save. If he fails one of these, he's dead. He fails 2 of them. So the other Demon Prince is down, and he was worth 2 points, so that brings my score up to 6-3. And then the Lich Guard are charging. They're going to multi-assault, because I want to get a Mind Shackle Scarab on each of them. So I do it properly. I move guys that are into base contact, and when I can't move into base contact, then I can multi-assault if I stay in coherency, and I can. So I managed to get Mind Shackle Scarab on both of his Demon Princes. So test for this one first, Mind Shackle Scarabs, leadership roll, and he makes it. He makes it with that guy. And then I test it on the other guy, and he makes it as well. What are the chances of that, eh? So I don't get to take advantage of Mind Shackle Scarabs. And unfortunately. And so at this point, oh yeah, he challenged the Lord. So this is just the Lord fighting against the Keeper of Secrets. I wonder who's going to win. It wasn't the Lord. Just a little hint there. Now his Demon Prince gets to move or go next, as his initiative is higher than 2, believe it or not. And I put one of them on the Overlord. He has a 3+ invulnerable, and I put, and yeah, he fails to actually damage anybody else. And I hit him back with the Overlord first, and I strip off one of his wounds. He has Feel No Pain, but he fails that as well. So he's down to 3 out of 4 of his wounds, and then all the Lich Guard attack him. And this is where I'm hoping that having grounded him will do it, because the invisibility won't matter, because they're already hitting on 5s, and then wounding on 4s, because they're strength 5. And they ignore his armor, though, which is nice, so he only gets his invulnerable save and then his Feel No Pain. And he dies. So that brings me up to 7 points to 3. So not looking too good for the Demons. I was actually thinking earlier on in the game that I was losing. Even though I had more points, it didn't matter, because I knew that he could come back and kill all my flyers. But now it's swung in the Necron's favor, even though right there I just failed another Reanimations Protocol, and the Lord does not stand back up. So end of round 4, the score is 7-3. He does have guys in my deployment zone, so he'll get Line Breaker as a point if I don't kill that squad. So it really is 7-4 if we look at it that way. But not looking very good for the Demons, even though he still has lots of troops alive, because his monstrous creatures, which are the ones that can really take on the flyers, are all dying. So I cast Hallucination on my Lich Guard, and I fail to deny it. And then he rolls a 6, which means they attack themselves. So they inflict 1 automatic hit on themselves. I kind of rather take that because of my invulnerable save. Because I roll first off to see how many wounds I do. And I did 4 wounds. And then I inflict, and I fail 2 of them. They might stand back up. And then the Overlord does his as well. He does 1 wound, but I have a 4+ save. Actually, he puts it on himself. And he fails it, so he takes a wound. I like that better because then I get to fire. Then he puts invisibility on the other guy, and he succeeds, and then he moves up his horrors so that they can engage and maybe hurt the flyer. It's going to be a tough shot. The Flamers move over, realizing they can take down these warriors just fine. His Demon Prince then jumps over. We do reanimation protocols on these, and one of them stands back up, so you can see not a lot of damage done by the hallucination, and now I get to actually fight with my Lich Guard. Winds of Chaos, we roll a 7, which is nothing. He no longer has Fate Weaver, so he cannot re-roll it, and then he's firing at the flyer with his Demon Prince, and he does 1 glancing, 1 penetrating. I roll them both at the same time because it doesn't matter, I just have to fail one of them. So he does knock down that flyer, bringing the score up to 7-4. The other guys are going to try to fire at this flyer. It's not really going to do much because they hit on 6s and glance on 6s, but they fail to do any of that whatsoever. Flamers, however, are going to have some fun because they hit like 15 times on these warriors as well and kill them all without really any problems whatsoever. Then I issue a challenge to his keeper so that I'll be in base contact for the Mind Shackle Scarabs because it happens at the same time. And we're going to do Mind Shackle Scarabs right here, and he fails it, so he does not get to hurt my Overlord, and he's going to try to hurt himself. He does D3 automatic wounds on himself, and just does 1 and does not wound himself, so that's kind of good for him. Overlord then attacks. He gets to reroll 1 because he's got about at least 5 people with him, and he's by himself, but he doesn't do any damage. So that was a tie combat. Necron's turn 5. My 2 flyers go off. It's a bit of a risk because if they're off when the game ends, that counts as a point for him each. And then if he kills my Warlord this turn, that means that it'll be tied rather than me winning. But I really needed them off because they didn't have any targets. They'd just be flying around being targets for his Demon Prince. And so that just wouldn't be any good. So attacking my Overlord, I fail all 3 of my 3+ invulnerable saves, and he goes down. So that will be a Warlord point if he does not stand back up. And so the rest of them have to see if they run away, and they do not. And we see if he comes back, and he does not. So that's a Warlord kill. So if the game ends here, then that means the score will be 7-7, and it'll be a tie. And so he'll have taken away my victory because I made a miscalculation and flew both my flyers off. So maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I don't know. Well, I know, but you don't know yet. Is the game going to continue? On a 3+, the game will continue. On a 1 or a 2, it's a tie. And we got a 5. So the game is going to continue into turn 6. So that's kind of a bad thing for him, but it could also be a good thing for him. So he's making sure he has Line Breaker first off to get that extra point at the end of the game, because it is 7-5. It is actually very close. The reason I'm ahead of him right now is simply because I had First Blood, and because I've killed 1 more points worth of flyers than he has. But other than that, he's actually doing quite well. He's casting invisibility on his Demon Prince. He tried to hallucinate my Lich Guard, but failed, finally. So that's good. And then his Horrors are moving up, trying to lend whatever support they possibly can. But not looking good because 2 of the kill points that he wants are off the table right now. So he just needs to survive this and see what happens, and hopefully go to turn 7. Otherwise, he's going to have a hard time. So attacking... I get to attack first because of the whip coils from my rays bring his initiative down to 1, which is nice. So this whole game, pretty much, this Keeper of Secrets has been tied up with the Wraith, which is great for me. It turns out I would have liked to kill him obviously, because that hallucination being cast around and invisibility have been really, really difficult to deal with. But yeah, what can you do? And he insta-kills one of the rays after taking a wound and being down to 1 wound. We have to roll to see if I run away because he beat me by 1, and I do not. He has it will not die, so let's see if his 1 wound comes back, and it does, so he's back up to 2 wounds. So that's good for him. That's tar-pitting both sides there. Necron's turn 6. Both my flyers come back. I need to shoot down that Demon Prince to really seal the deal of the game ending. So they both come in such a way that they can. I think one of them still has a payload of warriors. No, maybe not. And if they did, then... No, they did, because I just kept them in the reserve just in case I needed to do Line Breaker. I could fly my guys over in turn 7 and grab Line Breaker. And only inflict 1 wound with the first one because he makes a lot of his 3+ saves. But he is grounded, and so he takes a wound on a 2+, no armor or cover saves allowed. And he gets to reroll 1 roll in the entire game or something like that. But, oh no, that was his armor. That was his invulnerable save, and he failed it. So the second flyer will fire at him, inflicting 5 wounds, it looks like. And then he has a 3+ save with 3 wounds left, but he fails 3 of them exactly. So that's another point for me, bringing the score up to 8-5. Then we're carrying on this combat with the Keeper, and don't manage to inflict any wounds with the Wraith, but I do have the Lich Guard who can attack. Now, they are hitting on 5, so I only get 4 hits. 5 hits, and get 1 wound, which he saves. And then he's going to hit back. He's going to hit the Wraith. I think he decides to go for the Wraith because he wants to get rid of those whip coils so he can go first. And he hits twice, he wounds once, I have a 3+ invulnerable, which I make. So the Wraith is alive at the end of round 6. So end of round 6, I'm winning 8-6. 6 points because he has Line Breaker. And we're going to roll to see if the game ends. 4+, the game continues. Does the game continue to give him a chance to kill those 2 flyers? No, it does not. So that is a Necron victory, albeit close. So I hope that you enjoyed this battle report. If you are a Vault member, go ahead and watch the post-game show by clicking the link below. If you're not a Vault member, you can sign up for free by going to miniwargaming.com/free DVDs and get a free DVD and join the Vault for free for 7 days and watch the post-game show right away, right after you sign up. This is Matthew from MiniWarGaming. Happy wargaming.